We're going to continue our polarizing series with 10 polarizing closers. Coming up next on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast, brought to you by Vivid Seats. I'm Jeff Erickson, here with Fred Zinkie. We are talking about 10 polarizing closers today. We did polarizing hitters 2 weeks ago. We did polarizing starting pitchers last week. We're going to do polarizing closers this week. Fred, first of all, how are you?
I'm great. Great. I have Brandon Nimmo on almost all of my teams. So.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and I kept him in all of my lineups this week, even though he'd been really frustrating. Mostly because I didn't have any great alternatives for 15-team leagues. But so I got a huge day from him out of nowhere yesterday. So I was pretty excited about that. After I struck out on a lot of fab bids on Sunday night.
Did you now? Who did you strike out on?
I didn't pony up. I didn't spend enough to get Kurtz. I really wanted Augustin Ramirez in one league. I didn't get him. I did get Francisco Alvarez in that league for 81, which I actually felt like was pretty good. Like he's back, but I really wanted Ramirez. I was excited about him. So anyways, I just didn't get any of those guys. I saved a lot of money. So
I got one Kurtz.
I heard
one Augustin Ramirez. That's it. I got no Luke Weaver, which
he was not available in any of my leagues.
He's only available in one of my 12 teamers, which is where. But that's kind of the impetus for today's conversation.
Yep.
That we're talking about polarizing closers, because this last week and a half in particular, but this whole start of the season has been a little choppy when it comes to closers. And you wanted to raise the question, was it a mistake to go early closers this year? Did you go early closers this year, first of all?
Yep. And maybe. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And maybe I have some Devin Williams. I've got an Emmanuel Clase. So and those guys cost me like fourth round picks. Main event. Like those guys were in the third round. And then you just look at the hitters that you passed up. Some of them are just okay so far, but some of them, Machado's in and around those players. I mentioned you, Pete Alonso is after about 4 or 5 closers went. And then like James Wood, Lawrence Butler, Teoscar Hernandez, all off to like really good starts. Oh, those guys would all look great in my lineup. And if you took a closer kind of in the main in like round 3 or 4, you missed out on a chance to grab one of them. Now I'm handpicking Adley Rutschman, Edwin Diaz. You know what I mean? Brent Rooker's not off to the greatest start. Like those players are all in that. Rafael Devers, those players are all in that mix as well. So it's not a sure thing that you would have got an impactful hitter. Anyways, the whole point, the whole reason we're doing this today, and we didn't do this at this time last year, is there have been more disappointments and there's been more volatility at the closer position than there was last year. And we said last year when it was happening, like there were never any saves available on waivers for the longest time. And it was just an unusual year, and we're back to normal this year. Indeed we are. So let's jump right into it. Devin Williams, obviously like the biggest hot button polarizing closer right now, has temporarily lost his job. Did pitch yesterday at least, and pitched okay there, but he has lost his job. Luke Weaver is now the closer. You've gotten 4 saves from Devin Williams so far, but a 10 ERA, a 2.11 whip. It's not 121, it's 2.111 whip there. And the thing about Devin Williams is he's not getting the swing and miss on his changeup. That's the real problem. That changeup is his pitch, and he's just not getting the swing and miss that he usually gets. You usually get walks with Devin Williams. That's part of part of the territory. But he went from 43% strikeout rate last year to 19.1%. His swing and strike rate has been shaved nearly in half. So what's the issue with Devin Williams here, Fred? Yeah, it's like everything's gone wrong. Like you said, like the strikeout rate being cut in half is obviously like the biggest, by a million miles, the biggest part of the problem. And the control's been a little worse, but that's really more into just he can't put batters away. So sometimes he's ends up walking them. The average exit velocity is higher. The barrel rate's higher. So not only is he not striking batters out, but they're teeing off on him a little bit. I mean, like he has been also a little unlucky. There's a 400 BABIP so far. Like some of his ERA estimators, like his FIP's okay, it's 3.73. Like but the other ones are bad. The other ERA estimators bad. Bottom line, like this came like almost completely out of nowhere. Like I know he switched teams, but this is a guy who entered the season with a career ERA of 1.83. Like to me, he seemed, as long as he was healthy, he seemed as likely as any closer to just dominant numbers. 14.3 K per 9 rate in his career going into this year. Velocity's down, but only a little bit. Like his fastball velocity is 93.9. He's got years where it was amazing and it was like 94, just over 94. Like it's the same. He's just not hitting his spots. He said it. He said he's frustrated by it. Now he's sitting on your bench. You can't cut him. Jeff, if I gave you May 20th for Devin Williams getting another crack at the 9th inning, would you say it'll happen earlier or later than that?
I'm glad you didn't say over under because that would be confusing.
It's
sometimes.
Confusing. That's why I stopped myself.
Yes, I see. I could tell.
Yes, because what is the over earlier or later? So let's play earlier later on May 20th.
Let's just say I'm gonna assume for the sake of this argument, for the sake of this question, he's pitched well in that interim. You can't
assume that the way he's been pitching. You could say later because you could say I think he's never going back. Yeah, like I think it's Luke Weaver the rest of the way, and that's a fine stance.
I think he gets it back.
Me too.
I'll say June 1st.
Yeah.
But so the secondary question is: you're short on saves. You didn't get Weaver in the waiver wire. Do you trade low for Luke Weaver right now? I mean, for Devin Williams right now.
Like, do you trade to get Devin Williams?
Yes. You get him on the cheap.
Yep. I'd be interested. I'd be exploring for sure. If I felt like getting a discounted closer was something my team could really use. I'd be interested to see what the Devin Williams manager, because that will be all over the place. Like there'll be people who will say, forget it, I'm not trading him. Like I drafted him in say round 4. I can't sell him for 25 cents on the dollar, or I'm just not going to win my league. And then there'll be other people who will panic and just say, yeah, I'm getting something for him while I can.
Yeah, I think there will be. As always, when we talk about players like this, I like to see like what trades have happened.
Yeah.
And in the because on Yahoo you can do that sort of thing. And I'm trying to pull it up, but I keep on failing, hitting the wrong button. So bear with me on that. But it's looking at the trade market for Devin Williams, I'm sure it's all over the place.
I got some up.
Okay.
I would do a lot of these trades for Carlos Estevez. I'll take Devin Williams.
Yeah.
For Dylan Moore. Okay. He just went on the IL, but let's say this was before he went on the IL.
I'd do it anyhow.
A million times I would take Devin Williams. For Bryce Miller.
Now that's interesting because Bryce Miller's pitching tonight. He's been shaky so far. I think a 1.44 whip. I'm actually using him in DFS because it's the Angels, but he hasn't been very good so far. That's an interesting my problem for your problem sort of trade. The difference is Bryce Miller has his job right now, whereas Devin Williams might not have the role. And that's the trick.
Yeah, it's very much of a boom or bust. Like Bryce Miller has boom or bust potential, but Devin Williams is just like so incredibly wide. Like he could bounce back and have these amazing months.
Right.
How about this? I have later this week and going forward for the rest of the season at Yahoo, I have like rest of season rankings. Mm-hmm. And I had to put Devin Williams in. Obviously, I have everybody in there. So I have him as the 15th reliever, but I have a couple starters ahead of him who have SPARP eligibility. So among true relievers right now, I have him 13th. So big drop, but I have him 13th among relievers so far. So I'm not burying him, right? Like by putting him 13th, I'm saying he's getting his job back at some point.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Like I still have him ahead of like the Kahnle Jansons of the world.
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah. The Kyle Finnegans, etc.
Yeah. Both of those guys. Yeah. You've done, Kyle Finnegan again is among the leaders in saves at 9 saves. He's tied for third. Suarez and Munoz at 10, Miller, Finnegan at 9, Hader, Luke Jackson, of course, Tanner Scott, and Emilio Pagan at 8. But the thing is, we know that saves come in cycles. It's going to be, Or thing that's where you just know it kind of just goes up and down, up and down. They come in waves.
Mhm.
I'm not really, all jumping ahead of myself to get Finnegan, and I'm not like upset that like well, Aroldis Chapman has 4. That might be a bad example because he's in a bit of a timeshare there, but you get the gist of what I am saying there. Okay, let's move on to the next closer. This guy there's reason for concern. Emmanuel Clase has 4 saves, but more importantly, he's got a 7.15 ERA, a 2029 WHIP, and he last week he was not used as the closer in 3 different save chances. Did pitch the 8th inning on Saturday. Pitched a good clean inning at least. Got a little bit of a break. Had 6 days off. What's your worry level with Emmanuel Clase?
So it's there, but it's not quite as high as Williams, even though he's lost the job. They're using Cade Smith for now. But I feel like maybe he's a little closer to getting the job back. Like that 8th inning looked like good. Like that looked a lot like him. 14 pitches, 2 strikeouts. That was a really good inning. Devin Williams hasn't even got there yet. Like I feel like a couple more of those. Like if I was setting an over under on Clase, I think I'd set it more like May 10th. Like I think he could have his closer's job back in like 2 weeks or something like that. He's never been a big strikeout pitcher, right? So always been a big ground ball pitcher. So it's not like he has to, like the Devin Williams thing is just so stark, like you mentioned with the strikeout rate being just completely cut in half. Clase doesn't really need that. He's been BABIP to death too, like a 475
Oof.
BABIP so far this year, right? Small samples, but like you get really killed by some of this. So I think Clase, like I wouldn't be shocked if Clase got the closer's role back in a week.
He might even get the next save for all we know.
He could. I don't know. I'm gonna guess that maybe he gets like one more. So all of his ERA estimators are in the mid 3s. Just to put that in perspective, like Devin Williams, a lot of them were in the high 5s. Like he had some that didn't agree, but all of Clase's are like in the mid 3s. So they're kind of saying Clase hasn't been like as good as usual. The walk rate's a little higher, things like that. But like the ground ball rate's not quite as high. Like he hasn't been peak Clase, but mid 3s, like he should have been better, like more successful than he's been. So I'll say he has like 1 or 2 more like really like 8th inning innings, and then he's back in the closer's role. So I would definitely be interested in trading low on him.
All right.
Or acquiring him at a discount. To put in perspective in my rankings, I still have him 6th. So much higher than I had Williams.
Yeah. I think that seems accurate. The lower K rate, it is lower than last year by about 5%. That means more balls in play, more chances to get BABIP'd.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely a concern, at least a little bit there, but you're right. Probably not, I definitely less concern for him than there is for Devin Williams. That's for sure. Hasn't officially lost his job. Are you trading for Cade Smith at all though?
No, I don't think so. Like maybe if I was the Clase manager and the Cade Smith wasn't too expensive, like if the person who had Cade Smith was reasonable and I could get him for something like not too dear, then sure, and just cover my bases.
Right.
I also wanted to mention, and this is like away from all the numbers, but like this game is like watched and managed and everything by real people. So how much of it does it matter that Clase has years, 3 consecutive with over 40 saves in this organization and is in like more of a mid-market team?
I think it matters a lot.
And then Devin Williams has no track record with the Yankees and is in like arguably the most intense fan base in baseball. So you've got these Yankees fans I've seen them like on TV, on Twitter, like just screaming like, this guy's a bum. Why did we get him? Get him out of the 9th inning. Don't let this guy ruin our season, whatever. Whereas I feel like in Cleveland, I don't know, I could like really put the Cavaliers are really good right now. Like they're dominating probably the headlines a little bit in Cleveland. Like they're in the playoffs.
In the draft. Yep.
Right. The draft. The Browns just had like a really interesting, maybe the most interesting draft of any team last week. So like there's a lot of stories there. So there's just some room for Clase, who's got to be one of the most popular veteran guardians in the city, like just to the fans, to just kind of like get himself right here over the next couple of weeks without the massive pressure of Devin Williams. I just think there's more of a chance assuming they're both healthy, that Devin Williams maybe has a couple more bad outings and gets really buried.
Yeah.
As
And
opposed
not
to
only that, and not just be tolerant of, I think they might even rally around Clase.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. So yeah, we'll see.
Raisel Iglesias got the save last night, but he blew one on Saturday, gave up a home run, the fourth home run in the Eugenio Suarez game. And he's been bad, a little bad all around this year. I have Iglesias in a league. It doesn't help that, the Braves got off to an 0-8 start. That tends to hurt the save total just a little bit there. But Iglesias, I keep saying Clase, Iglesias, 573, but also a 109 whip. K percentage at 22.7%, walk rate at 44.5%. He basically has had a couple of ill-timed outings, is the way. And one of those was a mid-at-bat outing against the Dodgers when the Braves were in full-on panic mode. I'm inclined to not worry too much about Iglesias, but what say you?
Yeah, I'm not that worried about him. Like, he's just having trouble with home runs. So he's given up 5 home runs. That's more home runs than he gave up last season.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty normal. Like 5 would be like a pretty typical season for him. And usually his home run to fly ball rate, it moves up and down like every pitcher's, but it usually settles around 10-12%, and it's 29% so far. So just the fly balls for him so far are all flying out. I think there's some telling stats here. Like, he's only given up more than 1 run once. He gave up 3 in a game they ended up winning against the Cardinals. I'm not that worried about him. It's just, he's just had some really bad home run luck so far. If that continues, then yeah, it's going to be a real problem. But that hasn't been his career norm. And it's not totally like the average exit velocity is pretty high. Guys are just teeing off on him a little bit, and those fly balls are finding their way over the fence. So he knows what he has to correct. Like you say, the strikeout to walk is still really good. Yeah, I'd say I'm maybe similar to Clase. I'd say would be my level of concern for him, even though he still has his job. Clase has just been like a much more dominant closer. So yeah, I'm not that concerned.
For sure. I love that he doesn't walk anybody. It's just those homers are a concern that, his stuff isn't as live as Devin Williams, as Clase. So if he loses a little bit more, that maybe has a bigger impact. So that'd be the source of concern if there is one there. We're gonna talk Edwin Diaz next, but first, finally, baseball is back. This MLB season, knock it out of the park with Vivid Seats and score great tickets to the biggest games of the year. Every fastball, every home run, and every eye-popping play of your favorite team, live and in person. Plus, with Vivid Seats rewards, you earn rewards with every single purchase. Just buy 10 tickets, then cash in your credit toward your free 11th ticket. Talk about an easy win. And here's a pro reward tip. When buying tickets for your whole group, split the bill and make progress towards your free 11th ticket even faster. From behind the dugout to the upper deck, Vivid Seats has great tickets for all the 2025 games that matter to you. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, experience it live. See vividseats.com/rewards for terms and conditions. Jeff Erickson here. I am with Fred Zinkie. We are talking 10 polarizing closers. Fred, I also got Edwin Diaz in my back-to-back Iglesias Diaz turn at the 3-4 turn. Diaz hasn't been great, has had some hip issues. He's got a 4.50 ERA, a 12.50 whip, but a 13.7 walk percentage, and it's the first batter of his outing has been an issue all along. Still, 1 win, 7 saves. You're probably not complaining too much. What do you say about Diaz?
Yeah, definitely not complaining. I have not popularized this yet, but years ago I nicknamed him Edwin There's Always Something Diaz. I just find with him there's always something. Yeah. So Edwin Diaz has been a closer for basically his entire career. He was a little bit of a mix of a closer setup man in 2016, his rookie year. He has 1 season with 35 saves. 1. He had the 57 save, the remarkable 0 win, 57 save season in 2018 with 124 strikeouts. But I just find outside of that season, there's just like, how does this guy never have 35 saves? He's pitched for some good Mets teams. There's just always something. Like, he'll always have, like, maybe, obviously he missed a whole season once, but then there's just always like maybe a bit of a nagging injury or a bit of a hiccup at some point during the year. Like, he has, let's see here, in the last like 2, 4, let's see, 2, 4, 6 years, he's got an ERA of at least 3.45 in 4 out of the 6 years. So he has like a stretch where just in some years it seems like bad at ball luck. Like he had some high BABIP years, but like there's just always, he had a year where he's given up a lot of home runs. There's just always something. Edwin, there's always something Diaz. So for me, I don't have any shares of him just because of my nickname for him. So I had him a little lower than his ADP. Like he was going around closers who I believe maybe there isn't always something. He could be awesome. That 2018 season was like spectacular. There's 2 years or 3 years ago, 2022, when he got the 118 strikeouts and 32 saves was really good. So, and he could certainly this year, he could get 100 strikeouts. He's there right now. But again, there's just kind of always something. So far this year, he's been just a little too, giving up a few too many runs, couple of too many, like an extra home run. I know it hasn't blown a save yet. I think he's fine. I have zero concerns about him. But I just won't be surprised if at the end of the year, somehow he's finding a way to have 33 saves or 32 saves instead of like 38 or 40.
Yeah. I hear you on that. I get that. I was lower on Diaz than others until late. And then I kind of said, okay, forget it. I'm just going to go with it there. I could have, although I wasn't going to take Helsley over him, and I wasn't going to take Munoz over him. Two polar opposites in how they've been doing so far. But you know what? Yeah. So I guess if I was going to, I would have just waited and kicked the can down the road is what I most likely would have done instead. All right. That leads us to our next closer. And that is, first of all, before I tell you who it is, what full-time closer leads baseball and the highest walk percentage right now?
Ooh, the highest walk percentage. I've been doing a lot of closer writing lately. So I'm going to say off the top of my head, Carlos Estevez.
He's close. He's number 2.
Okay.
Carlos Estevez has I just had it up there. He's got like a 16.4% walk rate so far. It does have 7 saves. He's actually third worst. I'm sorry. There are 2 that are worse.
Helsley?
Ryan Helsley at 18.2% is the highest walk rate in baseball right now for full-time closers. There are others that, there's other relievers that are higher, but it goes Helsley, Bautista, Estevez is the highest walk rates. 18% walk rate right now. How worried are you about Ryan Helsley? And
he can walk a batter, like in his career, like he has sometimes had, not to this degree, but he has sometimes had some walks. Like he's not a low walk guy. So this is kind of a thing with him. He's just like a little out of control. Like he'll often have a walk rate around 10%, sometimes maybe 12%, not 18%, like so far.
8.6 last year for reference point.
Yeah, 8.6 was good though for him. Like that was
his strikeouts are also similarly down. It went from 29.7 to 22.7.
Yeah. Velocity's down. So he's down about a mile an hour from the previous 3 years. Like we talked about, a little different than Devin Williams, but like we talked about, when the velocity goes down and then the strikeout rate goes down, all of a sudden you can't put batters away quite as well as you could before. So now you're going deeper into counts, and then you're more likely maybe to they foul some off, you can't quite get them put away, and then maybe you walk them, right? Like that's what we're really seeing with him. The contact quality is like the same as other years. So I would say because the velocity is down a little bit, and that's made a bit of an impact, I'd say I'm a little bit worried about Helsley. Like I'd say I'm more worried about him than I am Iglesias, and more worried about him than I am Diaz. Definitely more worried than Diaz. Diaz would be the least of all the ones we talked about so far. Comparing him to Clase, pretty similar. Probably pretty. I'm not super worried about Clase, so probably like pretty similar level of concern.
3 trades on Yahoo today involving Ryan Helsley, all 1-for-1s.
Okay.
Joe Ryan, Devin Williams, straight up, and Framber Valdez.
Okay. I'll take Joe Ryan for sure.
Yeah.
Like I would be happy to get off this Ryan Helsley train. I think Joe Ryan's really good. Like we'll see if he can stay healthy, but lots of strikeouts, low whip. We'll see where the ERA winds up. I would get out and take Framber Valdez. I think he's not off to a great start, but he's a pretty reliable pitcher. So I would take him too. And then I would not take Devin Williams. Like Helsley has his job, and he's a little bit like we were talking about with Clase, where he has, not that he has as many like 40 save seasons as Clase, but he has a lot of years of being a really good reliever for St. Louis.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like that's a smart baseball fan base. Like I feel like he gets gets some rope unless like he really starts to struggle. So, but yeah, like the walks are in relation to probably the velocity being down, but the lack of strikeouts. If you can't put them away, they hang around, they foul pitches off, and all of a sudden, oh, there goes one, gets away on me late in a count, and I walk them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carlos Estevez as alluded to, has a high walk rate, 9 walks in 13 innings, but he has 7 saves, 2 blown saves, but 2.77 ERA, a 108 whip. For the most part, he's been pretty good. Compared to, it's definitely not like as strong as last year. The walk percentage was 5.7% last year at 16.4. That's a red flag for sure. K percentage is down. Velocity is down too. Actually, the more I read into him, the more I'm worried about him. Lucas Erceg got a save on Friday, but Estevez got it again on Saturday. Is this a like sell while you can sort of guy? Is this a ticking time bomb?
Yes. If nothing changes, then yes. I mean, relievers are so finicky that, maybe he gets the velocity back in May and we're just like, yeah, remember when his velo was down and we were all worried about him. But like so far, he's like a much worse pitcher than Lucas Erceg. So he's vulnerable. Like Estevez is not pitching well. He's had some success, but he's not really pitching well. He's certainly at risk of losing his role. And there's like an easy replacement there with Erceg. 152 BABIP so far has been propping him up. I definitely am worried about him. So I'm going to say, I like to kind of order them and put them all in perspective. I am as worried about him as Devin Williams. So those would be the two so far that I'm like the most worried about. And I'd say probably equally worried about both of them, even though Estevez still has his job, because again, he doesn't have currency with his organization and his fan base. And there's just and similar to the Yankees with Luke Weaver, there's such an easy replacement to just move Estevez to an earlier inning if they want to.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right.
I think he's definitely I don't know if you have any Yahoo trades in front of you for him, but I think he's definitely like if I could trade him for someone who I just feel good about, like I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's solid. I can have him on my team, which you probably could because he's got some saves. Like you could probably trade him for someone where I'm like, oh yeah, like that guy's solid. I could have him on my team, for a while. I think that would be a good fit. So yeah, I think, he's on the IL right now. I was going to say Hunter Harvey's even another threat to him.
Yeah. Someday.
Back. Yeah.
Someday.
When he gets back, he's a good reliever.
Really the threat though.
Erceg's really the threat. Yeah, for sure.
Really good pitcher.
Anyways, I would be, definitely interested in just getting out from this right now if I could.
Indeed. San Francisco. Ryan Walker has 5 saves. Camilo Doval has 5 days. Ryan Walker briefly lost the job. Has he lost it fully yet? Where are you on Walker versus Doval?
I find this one really hard because I don't really believe in Doval. I think Ryan Walker can get the job back. I don't know. What do you think? This one I have more trouble reading. Like I gave pretty firm opinions on everyone so far.
Yeah.
I think Ryan Walker's really good. I think he can get the job back. Like I think he's a better pitcher than Doval.
Yep. I think he is, but my degree of confidence in stating that isn't high because it's not like he's been this great reliever for a long time. It's been for a couple of years, right? And that always worries me a little bit there. Doval, 0.846 whip. Walk percentage is still 9.8% for Doval. It's the K percentage is low for him, 19.6. That's weird. I would have thought that he would have had a higher K percentage over time. He's been like a big K guy. Walker, 24.5 K percentage, 4.1% walk rate. So he just gave up a lot of hard contact, which is a problem. It's a real problem, but you often want to find that pitcher that misses bats. You would think that Walker is the guy, but you're not necessarily sure about that.
Yeah, I look at the underlying numbers for both of them, and I just think that Walker, I don't know, is the better reliever. Now, again, if Doval was getting saves, the Giants, because they've had Doval as a closer before, if Walker starts to get right, they could just be like, yeah, for sure, get right. There'll be a high leverage 7th, 8th inning guy who gets the meat of the order, and we'll just leave Doval in the 9th inning. But Doval's velocity's down. He's not really pitching great. I think I would rather, if I could have one of them going forward, I'd still rather have Walker. I can throw you a couple Yahoo trades. You tell me Ryan Walker or Dansby Swanson. Would you get off the Ryan Walker trade for Dansby Swanson?
Not if I needed the saves. And I love Dansby.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're drafting today, you're probably drafting Walker, right? Before Dansby. I think you're drafting another closer if you could, but you're drafting a closer before Dansby. How about that?
Yeah, that I feel like it's a pretty fair one. I was trying to think different league sizes. Like I was trying to get different league sizes. Like in a deeper league, I might just take the security of Dansby because I just don't want to risk the 0 of Walker. I've also see a 1-for-1 of him for Dylan Cruz. I would take Dylan Cruz.
Yeah, well, the Cruz is coming around finally. Yeah,
a little bit. I know some of that coincided with a trip to Coors, so I'm trying not to give him too much credit for that. Here's a neat one: him for Hayden Wesneski and Victor Scott.
I'd probably go with the Walker side on that one there and just take the chance that he's the closer. And then you have the extra spot too to play around with, especially if that's like a 12-teamer. And a 15-teamer, maybe I'd think about it a little bit harder. Tough call. Tough call.
I'll throw a couple more quick comments at you, and then we'll go to the next one. Him or Devin Williams? Who would you rather have?
I would rather have. Golly, that's a hard one.
I know.
Devin Williams, I think.
Yeah. Although it does feel like maybe Walker's like a little closer to getting his job back.
Yeah.
I think I would rather have Devin Williams too. But I would take Walker, I think, over, again, to refer back to these guys, like all of the not skilled guys like Estevez, Pagan, Finnegan. I think I'd still take Walker. Over those guys.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. We are at 7 polarizing closers. We got to start flying here, but quick. We are on the Blue Wire Network. Here are their ads. All right. Thank you, guys. For those of you who are streaming with us live, you got a 5-second pause. For those of you who catch your podcast later, thank you for that. We're going to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates next. David Bednar, is he back? Do you trust him? He is back, but is he back?
No, not really. I don't really trust him yet. I know he's had a couple of good outings. I don't really trust him yet. Where I'm at with David Bednar, if he was on waivers, I would totally pick him up. If I could get him as like a throw-in in a trade, sure, I would totally make that move. I would not invest anything significant in him. I don't think if you have him, like if you found him on waivers, I don't think you can trade him away right now. Like I don't think enough currency's been built up that you can trade him away right now for anything significant. So my stance on him is, like I said, like maybe if I was talking trade with you and we were like close to a deal and you wanted to do a deal, I was like, I don't know, like I don't mind it, but I don't love it. Throw in Bednar as a lottery ticket and I'll do it. So maybe something like that. But that's kind of where I have him. Like I still have him as a bottom 7 closer or something like that.
All right. Very well.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's possible they fixed him. I mean, he was a really, really good pitcher for a long time. And then he just kind of fell out of it last year. Usually, I mean, sometimes these pitchers never come back. But if he's a really good pitcher to begin with, I think there's a decent chance of it coming back. So that's where I'm kind of at with that.
My thought on him is like they couldn't fix him all last year. And then they couldn't fix him in spring training because he was awful to start the year. But like in a couple weeks in the minors, they fixed him that fast. Like what happened down in the minors that they couldn't figure out all of last year and throughout spring training? Maybe they did. They definitely, maybe they did. Quick comparison, him or Carlos Estevez, who do you want going forward?
Estevez.
Me too. Ryan Presley.
Well, we're going to get to that, but
okay, we'll save it.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, the alternatives,
guys. Yeah.
The problem with fading Presley is the alternatives haven't been good either. That's kind of where I'm at with that. That's the tricky part there.
Is he our next guy? Did I just
no, he's not. He's not. Okay. He's on the team by team section there.
Hey, I'll wait. I
wasn't really on. He wasn't one of my polarizing closers. He's just team by team.
I have thoughts when we get to him. So
good. And you should, I expect it. I demand that you have thoughts.
Because I have some shares, so I have some thoughts. Okay.
All right.
Anyways, who's our next polarizer?
Detroit Tigers. How in are you on Will Vest versus Tommy Kahnle? Or is this like a no resolution sort of thing where it's going to be someone different every time?
What happened to Tommy Kahnle? Like, what did this guy do to not? I was kind of like, what? Like, I guess he blew one save with an unearned run. Like, I guess. Like he has one blown save on April 20th. Like he had 3 saves in a row. And then on April 20th, he gets 1 unearned run. Like he has an inning of work with 1 hit and an unearned run, no walks.
That was the as Joe Sheehan calls it, the stupid runner. It was the extra inning run.
And then he doesn't.
Well, actually, it was,
No,
or
it's a
was it
blown
in the
save,
8th inning?
so
I'm
it's
sorry.
not. It's a blown save. So then,
Can't
and then
be
he
a
hasn't
blown
had
save.
and then he hasn't had a save chance yet. He was cruising. He had 4 saves. Looked like a closer. He had 3 in a row in consecutive appearances, all in the span of about a week.
His ratios are great.
Nothing wrong. And then all of a sudden, Will Vest comes along and gets all these saves, which made me feel like a little bit throwing my hands up at this bullpen and kind of saying that, like, I put in bids on Will Vest in some leagues on Sunday. I didn't get him anywhere because everywhere I just bid like $30. Like, I'm not going in $100, $80 on Will Vest when Tommy Kahnle's pitching just as well. And there was really no reason to pivot off of him in the first place. But Will Vest, to his credit, is pitching really well. He did need 33 pitches to get 4 outs last time out, but he is pitching really well. I have no faith. I have no faith in this bullpen right now. Like I'm totally at an area where, like, if I grabbed one of these guys, they're all gone now. So if I grab one, I'm holding them, maybe putting them in my lineup, depending on what my last starting pitcher option is. But I'm not looking to acquire. You know how I said I would maybe get Bednar as a throw-in? I don't know if I do that with these guys.
Fair enough. I mean, the one thing about Tommy Kahnle is he is a changeup pitcher. It's changeup upon changeup upon changeup. He doesn't blow hitters away. His fastball is slower than ever. It's 93.4%. 93.4 miles an hour. Percent would be weird. And the swing and miss isn't there anymore. Like it's precipitously dropped. It's 16.7% last year, 9.7 so far this year. He's got a 148 BABIP. He has been exceedingly lucky. Vest is a strikeout pitcher. So that might be part of the answer for us.
Yeah. Kahnle's old too. He's 35.
Yeah.
Like not really much of a closing track record. Like he has had a few saves in his career. No, 12 in his whole career. You know what I mean? Like he's not like, I could see the Tigers being like, hey, Vest might actually be something as far as a closer, but we're not going through the whole season with Kahnle. So let's take a look at some of these other guys. So Vest would be the one I would want, but Vest and Bednar is actually, it's not a bad argument, just in the sense that Vest is pitching really well. Has pitched really well all year. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking myself into, maybe he is in my throw-in stance again. Like maybe I'd take him as a throw-in in a trade, just to put it over the top for me, roll the dice with him, but I'm not actively pursuing him.
All right. Very well. Next pitcher. This guy had a 5.09 ERA and a 147 WHIP last year. Who am I talking about? He is a closer this year.
Can you repeat the number?
5.09 ERA, 147 WHIP last year. And yet he is one of the league leaders in saves this year.
Oh, is this Luke Jackson?
It is Luke Jackson. I thought I'd, couch it in what we knew about Luke Jackson coming this year and how I don't have a whole lot of them. I have them in one league where I have Chris Martin, maybe 2. I have a lot of Chris Martin. But I'm done kind of wish casting Martin as the closer. Like the blown save Sunday, it wasn't a blown save. The loss on Sunday wasn't his fault. It was half his fault, actually. That's not true. He had the throwing yard to start everything, but then it was compounded by everybody else after that. He isn't a big strikeout pitcher, only 8 strikeouts on the season. Do you have any sort of confidence in Luke Jackson the rest of the way?
Nope. I don't really. So, by the way, anytime I hear Luke Jackson this year, I think of Phil DeSalt, because there was that famous in the NFBC where he was the first guy. I remember you and Scott talking about it. Phil's exclamation point before the season even started of being like, hey, I'm still smarter than all you guys, that he snuck Luke Jackson. He was the only guy, right, to sneak.
Bid him on 4 different leagues, including my main event, for $1 unopposed.
For $1 before, and then next week when everyone was like, I got to get Luke Jackson. Where is he? Wait a minute, Phil. Yeah, the one guy. Phil, like I said, Phil's way of reminding us before the season started that he's still really good at this game.
Yes, he is.
And he is really good. He's got 8 saves from him for $1, which is amazing. But I don't see the longevity here. Like I don't see great strikeout skills. Beyond that, like I don't know where Texas goes from here. Like their offense is dead last in runs scored and runs per game. So I don't know where just even the team goes as far as, is this going to be a good season for the Rangers in the long run? Like if this offense doesn't get going, it's not going to be. So Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in Jackson. I would be definitely looking to move him. I don't know how much you get for him. I think in a smart league, like you're not getting much for Jackson, but maybe more in like a home league, like a Yahoo type league, maybe you could get something. He does have 8 saves and reasonable ratios right now. So maybe I don't see any 1-for-1s here just on the list at Yahoo. Someone traded him with Sal Frelick, and Sal Frelick's not worth much, for Chris Bubich. I would make that trade in a heartbeat.
I'd take Bubich alone on that one there, but
That's
yeah.
they had to throw in Sal Frelick. I don't.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. I was like, yeah, for sure. I would too.
Sal Frelick is nothing. Someone traded him and Vladdy for Machado and Randy Rosarena. I would do that too. Like Manny's below Vladdy, but I'd much rather have Randy Rosarena than Luke Jackson. Like I would be happy to cash him out right now.
Yep.
For something that I just felt like would be on my roster still in July.
Yeah. I've been not entirely so, but for the most part, I've held on to Chris Martin.
Yeah.
203, 098, 18 to 3K to walk in 13 innings. He's really good. But you know what? He's never once in his career been the closer. The most saves he's had.
Bit of a Tommy Kahnle.
The most saves he's ever had in any given season is 4 saves. Teams just don't want him to be the closer. And for better or worse, he's very good. I like him. He's a really good pitcher. Great K percentage this year. Walk rate is high for him at 5.6, but good for most closers. Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot, but it's tough to count on him getting that chance. So I'm probably not going to count on him getting that chance.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it all seems like it could happen, and it could. Like for him to get the chance, I think that Luke Jackson just needs to falter, and they just need to say, this guy's the next man up. But there is also Robert Garcia, although he's a lefty. His numbers this year are also really good. 142 ERA, 0.95 WHIP. Him and Chris Martin both have a save. Chris Martin's gonna be 39 in a little over a month. So, like you said, there's some Tommy Kahnle vibes there, where he's just never been a closer. Not a huge strikeout guy in most seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think it probably just never happens. I would not be holding Chris Martin in like an NFBC style league. Maybe in something like labor, where you have a 6-man bench and unlimited IL, like maybe you just hold him as like, sometimes in those leagues, you just need a setup guy some weeks. Like you're just like, I don't like my pitching matchups. I need a third reliever.
But see, I'd rather have the multi-inning reliever, the Hayden Birdsong, Ben Kasparius type, instead of Chris Martin.
Right. But Chris Martin gives you just the double, where like you wouldn't mind him as the reliever and you're holding him in the save spec manner. Like sometimes you just hold, like I lucked into in one league a Jose Alvarado at the start of the year just for that reason. Like I was just like, I don't know how this Jordan Romano thing's going to go. Like after having watched him with the Blue Jays last year, I was like I'll grab Alvarado. Like I kind of just need an extra reliever. I think the first couple of weeks, and maybe Romano's the first closer to kind of conk out. And sure enough, I've been able to get good production from him. So Chris, you could hold Chris Martin in the same vein. I'd like to see Robert Garcia have some bad outings, because otherwise he looks like a viable option. Even Jacob Webb could even kind of get in there. Just younger. He's been okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And that way you hold Martin for high leverage. Yes, I get it. Yeah. I feel like Martin got that high leverage curse.
He is. Yeah.
All right. We got 20 teams remaining. We'll
go rapid fire.
We're going to rapid fire. Your ground rule is you get like a minute to 90 seconds on any one given team, and you can go less. Okay.
A minute.
All right.
Hold me to it. Yeah.
All right. Very good. NL East. Let's start off with the Philadelphia Phillies. Comments.
I like Alvarado. I think I'm happy to hold him. I have no interest in getting Romano back. I don't know if Alvarado will be amazing, but if I found him, when I found him on the waiver wire, I'm happy to keep him. I think he's gonna get a fair amount of saves this year. Not 30, but 20.
Washington Nationals. Kyle Finnegan's doing it again.
I can't believe in it. I just can't. I can't get myself to believe in it. If someone wants to hold him, bless you. Go ahead and hold him. Maybe you'll get the 38 saves like last year. I just think between the odds, they didn't trade him last year. Maybe this year, if he's having another successful season, they do trade him at the deadline. Or maybe he conks out and you throw in those two. I don't know. Maybe you can't get much for Kyle Finnegan, so you just don't trade him. But I would be certainly open to trading him. If I couldn't get anything for him, like if just no one wanted him, then sure, I'll keep him and keep getting the saves because maybe he can get another 30 with bad ratios. But I'm not a believer.
Miami Marlins.
Pass.
Any comment? Pass. That's right.
Some people picked up. It's interesting. Some people picked up Jesus Tinoco on the weekend. Not really feeling that 4-3 strikeout to walk ratio. I know he's got a couple saves. And then some people picked up Calvin Fauché, but then some people dropped him. So, and his numbers aren't very good either, 10-7. I think I'm just a pass. I was kind of hoping a couple weeks ago it would be Anthony Bender.
Yep, me too.
But
Picked
it
him up
just
in only. Yeah.
But it just hasn't been. And he's got a 7-6 strikeout to walk. Like they all have pitched poorly. The skills on all of them are poor. So I would say 15-team league, I'm mostly a pass. This is why I drafted closers, so I don't have to grab these guys.
Very good. We did 3 teams in 2 minutes there. Good job. AL East. Now we'll move on to there. Blue Jays. You're a Jeff Hoffman guy. You're satisfied with your investment, yes?
Yeah. So far so good. Yeah, feeling good. Yeah, I think he's going to be a 30 save reliever, 35 save reliever. Jays have shown a willingness to use him 2 innings too, when he's been efficient in the first inning, of tie games, which has got him 2 wins so far.
Boston Red Sox. You can use some of your time bank saved from the Marlins and the Blue Jays to expand upon the Red Sox if you so desire.
So I feel like this one is more of a true. I don't know if you think this is right, but more of a true lefty righty timeshare. Although I guess Chapman hasn't had a save for about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I feel but he's been pitching well. So I feel like they would be happy to go back to Chapman if the situation called for him. Slayton has 2 saves since Chapman. They just haven't had a lot of saves lately. Slayton's had 2 saves since Chapman got his last one, but they haven't even been that recent.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of feel like they're both pitching well, and this feels like a committee to me. I'd be happy to have one of these guys as my 3rd reliever and put him in my lineup in the weeks where I feel like I don't want to roll 7 starters, which would be probably a lot of weeks, especially in a 15. But
Liam Hendricks part of your picture?
No, but I don't want these guys as I prefer not to have them as my 2nd reliever. And I don't really want both of them because I don't want to soak up two active lineup spots to get the Red Sox saves. And I think I would have to.
Well, it's the time to market problem too. You're really hoping that you get them active in the week that, that they actually get that save. First of all, they have to win. Second, they have to have a save situation. Thirdly, it has to be your guy. It has to be righty, lefty, all that good stuff. Yeah.
If you could only roster one,
Slayton.
One? Yeah, same here.
That's the one I don't.
Not by a mile, but same here.
Yeah. All right. Good job. Baltimore Orioles. We saw we saw the save for Bautista last night. He's got a really high walk rate so far, but his usage has been kind of scattershot with the Orioles playing so poorly.
Yeah, the problem is he can't start the game for them. So he can't, this awful rotation that they've had, he can't get them the save chance. Even if their offense starts to come around a little more, they need better starting pitching. Overall, though, Bautista, I'm not really worried. I know his velocity's down a little bit. I think Bautista's fine. The Orioles look like they're not a juggernaut. This is really I could go off on a tangent and I'm not going to right now, but man, this team is on the precipice of being maybe a bit of a juggernaut for a few years. And that has not happened because of the starting rotation. You really looked a few years ago at last year, started last year. Oh my gosh, Gunnar, Adley, and then all these guys, Kerstead, Mayo, Carter Norby, and just kept going and going. It hasn't really happened because the pitching has been not good at all. Anyways, I think he's fine. I think he's I think Bautista's right now is a middle 10 reliever, not a top 10 reliever. He's a middle 10 reliever. Solid job, can probably work his way to 30 saves.
Yep, that's right. I think that's probably right about that. And I think the Orioles are going to play well at some point in time during the season. But and they're not a special bad team, so they'll get at least 30 save opportunities as a team.
Yeah. And when I say middle 10 reliever, actually, I'll make that a little better. I'll say a 10, 11 to 15 type guy. Not even he's not an 18 or 19 to me. He's more top half of the league, but not a top 10.
Peter Fairbanks for the Rays has 2 wins. He has 6 saves. He also has a 12.8% walk rate and only a 21% K rate. But the other pitchers in the bullpen, other than Garrett Clevenger, haven't pitched all that well either.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Edwin Uceda having a slow start to the season has probably been what Fairbanks needed to keep his job. Because if Uceda was pitching like he did last year, he'd probably be really pushing to take the closer's role. I think Fairbanks is fine. To me, he's another middle 10 guy. I'd have him behind Batista, maybe more like 16, 17. And the reason I would is just that he's never thrown more than 45 and a third innings. He's done that exact number the last 2 seasons, but those are career highs for him. He's been around since 2019. Like there's usually something. He's a little bit of an a poor man's Edwin Diaz. There's always something Fairbanks. So yes. I just feel like with Fairbanks, there'll be something at some point. You're going to have, but at least if the something just wipes him out for a month, like, sure, that's okay. And then you get your 25 saves or something instead of 30 or 35. So, but I think he's fine. 15th best reliever, something like closer to own, something like that.
Cromulent. There we go. That's my abuse of that word.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into my beloved flyover country, NL Central. Cubs. You had thoughts on Ryan Presley?
So you mentioned, Ryan Presley stinks. I have him in a couple of leagues. I'm worried about him. Hopefully he can get it together, but I'm definitely worried. Like, he didn't pitch great last year. He hasn't pitched well this year. As of the other day, he had more walks than strikeouts. I forget if he still does, but I know the other day he had more walks, strikeouts. He still does. Still only 5 strikeouts in 12 innings. He hasn't blown a save yet. But I'm very worried about him. Porter Hodge, I want to mention. So his numbers at first don't look good. The 5.27 ERA, the 1.32 WHIP. We're still dealing with small sample sizes. He gave up 6 runs in that win game on April 18th. And outside of that game, he's only given up 2 runs in his other, I don't know, whatever, dozen or so outings. So 13. His other 13 outings, he's given up 2 runs. So He's actually pitched fine outside of that one game, the 13-11, where just everything went bananas in the late innings.
It was Win-Mageddon too.
That's right. So I think Porter Hodge is actually a viable option there. I would be looking. He's not available in any of my leagues, but if he was, whether I had Presley or not, I would be looking to get him. And if I had Presley, like, this might be the time to pick up Porter Hodge cheap. Like, just see if I could just throw like a cromulent starting pitcher to someone for Porter Hodge just to cover my Presley shares.
All right. Let's move on. Cincinnati Reds. Emilio Pagan has been the guy. He continues to be the guy. Got another save last night. I don't see any reason for the Reds to switch Diaz back into the role right now. Do you?
Nope. And Terry Francona's kind of got, to me, that veteran manager vibe where if it don't fix it. And Pagan's, I know he's not this good. He's given up 3 home runs. That's a bit of a problem. But 14-2 strikeout to walk rate. He's going to give up some home runs. He pitches in Cincinnati. Like, it is what it is. I don't think any of us think that Pagan's going to be awesome. But I think if you have Pagan, you just keep him and ride him. Maybe he ends up just being like a not awesome closer who somehow gets 30 saves because the Reds just use him. Francona's just like, yeah, you're our guy. There's no reason to put Diaz back in. I think he's worth hanging on to. Like, I think he's in the Finnegan class of closers, even though he'd be worth less on the trade market. So I think my stance on Pagan is I would just keep him. I don't think I go out and go after him. Like, he also has a 0.65 BABIP, so like some things are going to swing back the other way. He could lose his job for sure, but I think the answer with Pagan is just, if you have him, keep him. Don't go trade for him, and if it starts to go sideways, like, just jump off quickly.
How many saves does Trevor McGill have?
2.
Last save was April 18th. He's only blown 1 save. He's only thrown 7 innings so far this season. Remember, you got the slow start in spring training.
Yeah.
4.91 ERA, 1.36 WHIP, but I mean, it's 7 innings, 9-4 K to walk. It's kind of annoying because
maybe a buy low,
but maybe also a tiny concern. Maybe I'm just a Cassandra, but I feel like there's a little bit of a red flag with this guy. I feel like I want to stay away from him.
Yeah. I mean, last time, and if we're thinking buy low, like, how I brought up the Porter Hodge, like, don't, like, be careful of the small sample size with relievers this time of year.
Right.
Trevor McGill's most recent appearance, he did come out, get 1 out, and then give up a walk-off homer it was the Arenado one, right? He gave up a walk-off homer against the Cardinals. So he's not. So it's not like you're like, oh, he had a couple of mistakes early. He's trending up now. Yeah, I'm worried about him. I would consider a buy low, but it would have to be like a decent buy low. I feel like in my closer rankings right now, I want to have him around closer 20, like behind guys like Fairbanks, maybe in with guys like Finnegan, who have built up some more currency than him, but I don't actually think are better pitchers than him. Would you rather have McGill or Pagan?
Oh man,
I think for me, I'd still rather have McGill.
I think I would prefer McGill, but I wouldn't. If I had Pagan, I wouldn't trade him for McGill. Does that make sense?
I think I would. If anyone's listening in labor, I have Pagan. So if you want to offer me McGill, I'll take that trade. I think I would trade him for that. I think I would trade Pagan for McGill. If I had Finnegan, I might not.
Yeah,
I might not. I might just take the guy who's getting the saves and has the job and has been with the team for a couple of years. I might just take the safety and I'll be like, whatever. The ratios are what they are. So I may not do that one.
I'm quickly checking to see how I'm doing in saves and labor. I think I'm okay. I've got Iglesias and Tanner Scott, so I won't be trading. I have a bad team, but that's not my issue. I have other issues that are more pressing. Okay. It's not about me. Moving on. AL Central. Twins.
I'm not that worried about Yohan Duran. So to me, he's a buy low. I'm just not that worried. They just haven't generated save chances.
Yeah.
And Griffin Jax hasn't pitched well. So Duran has a couple extra walks than he would normally have. He's still throwing triple digits. I'm honestly, I'm just not worried. It's just the Twins haven't been getting save chances. I think he has 2 saves, and I think Danny Colombe has 1, and that's it for the Twins. They just haven't been getting save chances. But then I look at the Twins rotation, and I think this should be a team that gets save chances. Like, just if you're constantly putting out Ober, Ryan, Lopez,
right?
Like, you should be able to get some save chances. It's just has been random. We talked about it at the very start of the episode. It is random sometimes. I could totally see a scenario where Duran has, maybe 3 2-week saves in a row, and all of a sudden he's kind of caught up to the pack. I don't think he's like a top 7 or 8 closer, but I think, how about this? But Duran or Felix Bautista?
Duran.
Me too. I think me too. I have him 1 spot ahead of Bautista in my rankings.
I think Rocco Baldelli annoys the crap out of me. I don't think he lasts the season if they continue at this pace. Although they've won 4 in a row, so what do I know? Maybe they're turning it around there. But
I think Duran almost starts like a new tier. Like, I like guys like Diaz, Iglesias, like Hoffman, Clase, all ahead of him, and then I almost feel like he starts a new tier that includes Bautista.
He always has started in the new tier. It's always him and Munoz. It's just that Munoz has graduated from that tier.
He sure has. Sure has. We'll get to him in a moment.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Quickie quiz. Can you name the one pitcher who has a save for the White Sox this year?
No chance.
No chance at all. 0 chance. They have 7-21. They have 1 save. It was a rain-shortened game.
Oh, yeah.
Against the Twins.
No chance I can guess.
Brandon Eisert.
No. No.
I have rostered Jordan Leisure Suit at one point in time, but I never had him active, at least.
There's absolutely no chance that I'm picking up a White Sox.
He had a chance at a save on Sunday and blew it. He gave off the walk-off homer to the Athletics instead to Urias. So, that was an easy cut after that. It's like, bye-bye.
Yeah. I think there's 2 teams. So I will not pick up a White Sox reliever or a Rockies reliever under any circumstances this year. I guess the only thing with the White Sox later in the year, if they graduated like one of their good pitching prospects and put him in the bullpen, sure. But like, other than that, I'm not picking up a reliever. Even the Marlins are close, where I wouldn't pick up any of them, but I would maybe. Like, if one of them came out and started to show some skills and got some saves, maybe. The other 2 teams, no chance. Even if someone got 2 or 3 saves, I'm not picking
just know that if you do get that guy, they're going to trade him anyhow. So
totally.
That's the other.
Or they'll go 10 games without a win or something like that, and you won't even get anything from them. So no.
Yeah, they're just merely bad. They're not hella bad like the Rockies and the White Sox, though.
Yeah.
All right, NL West. Dodgers. Any comments on the Dodgers bullpen right now?
Tanner Scott is being used more as a traditional closer, I think, than most of us thought. It helps that Blake Treinen's hurt. I think he's easily a top 10 reliever going forward. The Dodgers haven't totally hit their stride thanks to all the starting pitching injuries.
Right.
Now they won't overwork him. Like we know that, like that's just not their MO. So like, he's not going to have a month where he gets like 13 saves or something like that. They just won't let that happen. But I think he can consistently grind out like a top 10 saves total for like all year. I don't see him in the top 5, but he could be. If he finishes in the top 5, I wouldn't be shocked, because I do think there's a chance that the Dodgers could just go on, because they're so good. Like they could go on a real run and he could just be a consistent save source. But he's getting a higher percentage of the Dodgers saves than I thought he would.
0 walks on the season for Tanner
Yep.
Scott, which is noteworthy considering that he's had a double-digit save walk percentage over the course of his career. But not this year. Not this year at all.
Yeah.
All right. Padres. Right now, that's my biggest whiff of the year is our Padres. Whether it's Tatis at the 1-2 turn or fading Robert Suarez and all of my leagues, I feel great shame for both of those.
Suarez is a great reminder, and this happens I swear it happens every year to at least one reliever, where we all just collectively decide that they're not very valuable. And then they end up being really valuable. And then we look back at it and we're like, sorry, why didn't I want this guy? He had 9 wins and 36 saves and great ratios last year, and his team's good. Like, why didn't I want this guy? But we were all so sure that the Padres are probably going to eventually trade him, and they might. They do all sorts of wild things. So like, I'm not, even if he's a great closer, I'm not saying it's impossible that they do wacky things with trades sometimes. So I think outside the box, they could actually trade him. But obviously now you just wish, and Jason Adam has been lights out.
He has.
Man.
And Strada's great too.
Yep. It's a great bullpen, but Suarez is clearly the closer. I think he's a top 5, top 6 type closer in fantasy right now. So yeah, really good.
Yeah. Diamondbacks, no AJ Puck. He's getting a second opinion on his elbow. That can't be good.
Not
good. It's Justin Martinez or bust right now. They might get Ginkel back soon. I know his possibility could come back this week, as a matter of fact. So we'll see about that. But right now it's Martinez.
Yeah, I would like to roster me some Justin Martinez. So I think he's an excellent pitcher. Good numbers so far this year. Yeah, I would be tons of ground balls, good velocity, can get strikeouts. Like, I think there's a ton of potential. Like you can't value him too high until you see him start to get some more saves, but he's I think a really interesting buy low option right now. If just the person who has him is just like, well, he isn't really the closer yet or whatever. Here's one, would you trade Kyle Finnegan for him?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would.
I'd be happy I got what I got from Finnegan, who might be trade bait at the deadline. Yeah. By the way, Diamondbacks did activate Ginkel today from the IL. Shelby Miller is also kind of a low key consideration at the back end of that bullpen, which he's pitched well, but I'm not really sold.
I'll give you one more: Pete Fairbanks or Justin Martinez. Fairbanks is like
Martinez, because Fairbanks, he is definitely my middle class version of Edwin Diaz. Like you said, there's always something. He was an avoid for me. Paste eaters. Is there anybody you're paying attention to? All right, moving on. That's what I figured. Good answer. That's the Rockies for the uninitiated there. AL West, last division. All right. Edwin Munoz. The question I ask you with him is, how high do you draft him if you're drafting today?
It's amazing that you had a slip there and you called him Edwin Munoz.
I did, didn't I?
He is pitching like Edwin. He is pitching like Edwin Diaz when he was on the Mariners.
Sorry.
I like it because you're referencing him. You're like, you are the modern day Edwin Diaz.
You are him.
From his time on the Mariners. So on my initial closer rankings, I put Andres Munoz 3rd.
Behind Miller and who else?
Hater.
Okay. Yeah, of course. All in the same division, by the way.
Yeah, good point. I've always thought I have no shares of him this year, partly because I took a lot of Jeff Hoffman, which I'm not that upset about. Like, he's done well himself, but I've always liked Munoz as a pitcher, and we just needed the Mariners to commit to him more. And 2 things have happened: the managerial change, but also the bullpen is just not as deep as it was a couple years ago. So I think they're forced now to more have a traditional closer. I remember talking about them a couple of years ago, and they just had so many options. Diego Castillo was there, kind of coming off him having been with the Rays. Matt Brash was young, and young and brash, and
Mhm.
a potential Canadian, Matt Brash, by the way, and was like a potential guy to close. And there was someone else who escapes my mind right now, but Paul Sewald was the other one who was there. And it was just jam-packed, share saves, blah, blah, blah. Now you look at their bullpen, he's clearly the king. So, yeah, really good. Really good for people to pick him up. The ideal this year would have been to pass on all those really early guys and grab a couple like Munoz and Jeff Hoffman, Tanner Scott, like maybe more from that tier would have worked out really well.
Very good. Very good. All right. Hey, Mason Miller. He gives up awesome. No contact or really hard contact. That's my only gripe. But
he's awesome.
He is awesome. He is very awesome.
Yeah.
Hader, very awesome. I'm old enough to remember when he was in danger at the beginning of the year last year.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, jumping back to Mason Miller, maybe a good example of just draft the best closer and don't worry about the team context, right? Because like unless it's like the Pace Eaters or the White Sox or something, but like other than that, like the Athletics, like they're not a good team, but they're actually better. We knew they were going in the right direction when we saw their offseason moves, and just guys like Severino, Lawrence Butler, stuff like that. Like, anyways, his team's plenty good enough for him to be among the save leaders.
All right. Last team, the Angels. Kenley Jansen's been fine. You knew they were going to use him as a closer. Yep. You've got 6 saves from him and 8 appearances. He doesn't get used unless it's absolutely certain you need him, but he's pitched well so far. No runs allowed.
He is as cromulent as a cromulent closer. You want to talk about cromulent closers? Yep. He's as cromulent as a closer can be. Like he's not going to be, when the dust settles on the season, like probably amazing. But
he won't even be an Angel by the end of the season.
He probably won't be an Angel. And then obviously the concern at his stage of his career is he won't be a closer. Yeah. Because I don't know if he's good enough that a contending team trades for him to be their closer. So that's the problem is you're probably looking at 4 months of him. So I guess if you wanted in some leagues to maybe try to sell a little bit high on him in like late May, when we're still really far from the trade deadline, but right before people have started to say, I'm not trading for that guy. He's going to get traded. He's not going to be a closer. Like maybe in late May, you could still get good value for him. But yeah, he's fine. He's fine. I'll take Kyle Finnegan over him and Trevor McGill maybe over him, but then he's after that. I'd take him over Emilio Pagan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. That is going to wrap it up. We hit every single team. Nice. I like it. Well done. Yeah. We will do more news and notes flavor type of podcast next Tuesday, but we thought we'd kind of do the volatile closers and hit every single team today. We'll go back to more of a newsy format next week, but thanks everybody for tuning in today. Good luck. We got James Anderson coming up tomorrow. Hey, full lineup today of baseball games. Good luck in your lineups. Go get them. Thanks for listening.